happened. Of course, President Biden, then Vice President, was in the Situation Room with President Obama when U.S. Special Forces took out Osama bin Laden in Pakistan in 2011. We're awaiting to hear from President Biden in just a few moments. Of course, you know that he remains in isolation at this time due to his COVID. We're waiting to see him there at the podiums. Zawahri actually succeeded bin Laden as the head of al-Qaida back in 2011. The State Department had previously offered rewards of up to $25 million for any information leading to his apprehension. As we heard earlier today from our Chief Global Affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, he was hiding in plain sight. Not that he was hiding in caves at all, but it appears that he was right there in the city of Kabul. And now we're going to listen to the president. On Saturday, at my direction, the United States successfully concluded an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan, that killed the emir of al-Qaida, Ayman al-Zawahri. You know, Zawahri was bin Laden's leader. He was with him the whole time. He was his #2 man, his deputy at the time the terrorist attack of 9/11. He was deeply involved in the planning of 9/11. One of the most responsible for the attacks that murdered 2,977 people on American soil. For decades, he was the mastermind behind attacks against Americans, including the bombing of the USS Cole in 2000, which killed 17 American sailors and wounded dozens more. He played a key role in the bombing of the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing 224 and wounding over 4,500 others. He carved a trail of murder and violence against American citizens, American service members, American diplomats, and American interests. And since the United States delivered justice to bin Laden 11 years ago, Zawahiri has been a leader of al-Qaida, the leader. From hiding, he coordinated al-Qaeda's branches and all around the world, including setting priorities for providing operational guidance that call for and inspired attacks against U.S. targets. He made videos, including in recent weeks, calling for his followers to attack the United States and our allies. Now, justice has been delivered, and this terrorist leader is no more. People around the world no longer need to fear the vicious and determined killer. The United States continues to demonstrate our resolve and our capacity to defend the American people against those who seek to do us harm. You know, we make it clear again tonight that no matter how long it takes, no matter where you hide, if you are a threat to our people, the United States will find you and take you out. After relentlessly seeking Zawahiri for years under Presidents Bush, Obama, and Trump, our intelligence community located Zawahiri earlier this year. He had moved to downtown Kabul to reunite with members of his immediate family. After carefully considering the clear and convincing evidence of his location, I authorized a precision strike that would remove him from the battlefield once and for all. This mission was carefully planned, rigorously minimized the risk of harm to other civilians. And 1 week ago, after being advised that the conditions were optimal, I gave the final approval to go get him. And the mission was a success. None of his family members were hurt, and there were no civilian casualties. I'm sharing this news with the American people now, after confirming the mission's total success through the painstaking work of our counterterrorism community and key allies and partners. My administration has kept congressional leaders informed as well. When I ended our military mission in Afghanistan almost a year ago, I made the decision that after 20 years of war, the United States no longer needed thousands of boots on the ground in Afghanistan to protect America from terrorists who seek to do us harm. And I made a promise to the American people that we continue to conduct effective counterterrorism operations in Afghanistan and beyond. We've done just that. In February, our forces conducted a daring mission in Syria that eliminated the emir of ISIS. Last month, we took out another key ISIS leader. Now we have eliminated the emir of al-Qaida. He will never again allow Afghanistan to become a terrorist safe haven, because he is gone and we're going to make sure that nothing else happens. You know, it can't be a launching pad against the United States. We're going to see to it that won't happen. This operation is a clear demonstration that we will, we can, and will always make good on the solemn pledge. My administration will continue to vigilantly monitor and address threats from al-Qaida, no matter where they emanate from. As Commander-in-Chief, it is my solemn responsibility to make America safe in a dangerous world. The United States did not seek this war against terror. It came to us, and we answered with the same principles and resolve that have shaped us for generation upon generation. To protect the innocent, defend liberty, and we keep the light of freedom burning, a beacon for the rest of the entire world, because this is a great and defining truth about our nation and our people. We do not break. We never give in. We never back down. Last year on September 11th, I once more paid my respect to Ground Zero in New York City, at that quiet field in Shanksville at the Pentagon, standing in the memorial at Ground Zero, seeing the names of those who died forever etched in bronze is a powerful reminder of the sacred promise we made as a nation. We will never forget. The memorial also bears the quotation from Virgil: "No day shall erase you from the memory of time. No day shall erase you from the memory of time." So we continue to mourn every innocent life that was stolen on 9/11 and honor their memories. To the families who lost fathers and mothers, husbands, wives, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, friends and co-workers on that searing September day, it is my hope that this decisive action will bring one more measure of closure. No day shall erase them from the memory of time. Today and every day, I'm so grateful for the superb patriots who serve the United States intelligence community and counterterrorism communities. They never forget. And those dedicated women and men who tirelessly work every single day to keep our country safe, to prevent future tragedies. It is thanks to their extraordinary persistence and skill that this operation was a success. They've made us all safer. And to those around the world who continue to seek to harm the United States, hear me now. We will always remain vigilant, and we will act, and we will always do what is necessary to ensure the safety and security of Americans at home and around the globe. Today, we remember the lost. We commit ourselves to the safety of the living, and we pledge that we shall never waver from defending our nation and its people. Thank you all, and may God protect our troops and all those who serve in harm's way. We will never give up.
President Biden there with a clear message: no matter who you are, if you are a threat to our people, the United States will find you and take you out. He just outlines al-Zawahri's key roles in the attacks, bombings, and killings around the world for several decades, saying that he carried a trail of murder and violence against American citizens. Once again, saying justice has been delivered and this terrorist leader is no more. Let's get right to ABC's Chief Global Affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz. Martha, we know this was a drone strike that he was apparently hiding in plain sight. Give us a sense of the timetable here.
A senior administration official briefed this evening and said that they had been watching him for several months. He moved to that safe house, as President Biden said, because his family was there. A wife and daughter and other children were there as well. But it was 2 Hellfire missiles fired from a CIA drone right over that house in the center of Kabul, in one of the most wealthy neighborhoods in Kabul. He was out on the balcony of that home, and those Hellfire missiles took him out. And they say there were no civilian casualties that they know of at this time. And his family was inside, and they were not killed. We have also learned that the Taliban, senior Taliban commanders, knew that Zawahri was in Kabul, and clearly clearly did nothing about that, and that is going to be a serious issue with the U.S., that they were harboring a terrorist like Zawahri after saying they would not harbor any terrorists in Kabul. Of course, the Taliban took over just about a year ago in August last year when the U.S. troops were all moving out of there. That may have emboldened Zawahri to be more open about his presence, feeling he had the protection of the Taliban. But boy, President Biden said it right. The CIA, the U.S. was persistent. They found him, they tracked him down, and they killed him.
And as you mentioned, as well as the president, you know, many had thought that once the American troops pulled out nearly a year ago from Afghanistan, that the intel might be limited on the ground without having those boots on the ground.
Exactly, and you can imagine that the administration will use this again and again, saying, look, we can still go after people, this so-called over-the-horizon counter-terrorist operations, that they can still go after people. But it will still be difficult, Lindsay. There were no zero U.S. presence on the ground in Kabul. They certainly got help from someone in trying to identify him positively. We don't really know who that is, but there were no U.S. boots on the ground, no U.S. intel officers, as far as we know, anywhere near that house. And they were still able to pull this off with help from somebody, I'm sure.
Martha Raddatz, our thanks to you as always. Now let's bring in ABC's chief White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega. Cecilia, the president obviously still in isolation from COVID. His administration has taken numerous hits over the months. What does this mean? It felt like he was kind of taking a bit of a victory lap today.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Lindsay. A victory lap. And frankly, as Martha was saying, there seems to be a little bit of "we told you so" coming from the president and certainly senior administration officials here. Look, they were criticized pretty heavily, of course, for the botched withdrawal that we all covered in depth about a year ago at this time. In fact, the timing of this is noteworthy. It was about a year ago right now that President Biden had started to pull troops out of Afghanistan. And at the time, the White House faced very serious criticism from many across this city and beyond that's basically saying that they wouldn't be able to continue to get intelligence if American troops were not there on the ground and in that region. And at the time, they said that would still be possible despite this criticism. And you are hearing from the administration right now, from senior administration officials who say, look, this is proof that you don't need American troops on the ground and in harm's way in Afghanistan in order to get this intel, like you're seeing come out of the White House right now.
Cecilia Vega from the White House for us. Again, the president talked about how meticulously this had been planned out, that he went out of his way to make sure that there were no civilian casualties. I want to bring in our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. Pierre, Zawahri, also known as the president described for having prolific videos and messages trying to attract more terrorists. That was still coming now over the last few decades.
Indeed, Lindsay, when he would put out these videos, law enforcement and intelligence officials would be scrambling, worried about the potential for imminent attacks. And Lindsay, law enforcement officials also say that this is a measure of justice because he was in the room on that day when Osama bin Laden recorded a video bragging about how they had killed so many Americans on 9/11. They say justice has been served.
All right, our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, once again, the president saying that the top al-Qaida leader is no more and that he gave the approval 1 week ago to go get him, and they did just that. Our coverage continues on ABC News Live and abcnews.com. For viewers in the West, we'll have full reports on World News tonight. For now, I'm Lindsay Davis in New York. Have a good night.
This has been a special report from ABC.